The news broke like a winter storm, sudden, cold, fierce. It swept across the country with the force of a blizzard, catching millions off guard and leaving a chill in its wake. In living rooms, offices, and coffee shops, Canadians paused, sensing that something monumental had just shifted beneath their feet. Across Canada, headlines blared, "Ottawa kills Independence Pipeline." The words were stark, impossible to ignore, echoing through every news outlet and social feed. It was a decision that would ripple far beyond the oil fields, touching every corner of the nation. In Calgary's financial district, the silence was deafening. Streets that once buzzed with early morning energy now felt abandoned, as if the city itself was holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. Coffee cups paused mid-air, eyes fixed on the screens. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. The usual morning routines were shattered by the gravity of the announcement, as workers tried to process what this meant for their futures. This wasn't just policy, it was a shockwave that hit Alberta's core. For oil workers, it felt personal, like the ground had been pulled out from under them. Their livelihoods, their communities, their sense of purpose, all suddenly in question. Mark Carney, Governor of the Bank of Canada, delivered the blow. His words were measured, but the impact was seismic. He spoke of economic realities and global responsibilities, but for many, it sounded like a distant echo compared to the immediate pain. In Ottawa, environmental activists erupted in celebration. Cheers rang out in the streets, banners waved high, and for a moment hope surged among those who had fought for years to see this day. For them, this was a victory for the planet, a sign Canada was finally serious about climate change. It was a moment of vindication, proof that their voices had been heard at the highest levels of power. Ministers spoke of a bold new direction, but in Alberta, their words sounded like a death knell. The nation was split. The same announcement that brought joy to some brought despair to others, deepening the divide between regions and ideologies. Alberta's shock turned to anger. Town halls filled with heated voices, locker rooms buzzed with frustration, and a sense of injustice began to take root. Talk radio and social media exploded with outrage. Hashtags trended, callers vented, and the digital air crackled with fury. The conversation was no longer just about a pipeline, it was about identity, fairness, and the future of the West. Western alienation felt too mild for the sense of betrayal. For many, it was a wound reopened, a reminder of old grievances and broken promises. Many saw Ottawa sacrificing Alberta's prosperity for political gain. Business owners worried about layoffs, families feared for their stability, and the sense of being left behind grew stronger with every passing hour. The pipeline was more than steel and oil. It was hope. It represented jobs, growth, and a future that now seemed to be slipping away. For communities built around the industry, its loss was a blow to their very identity. Its cancellation felt like a final, unforgivable slap. Protests erupted. Voices rose in anger, and a sense of despair settled over the province. The drama was immediate, the consequences far-reaching. Newsrooms scrambled to keep up, politicians scrambled for answers, and ordinary Canadians wondered what would come next. This was a fundamental clash of visions for Canada's future. In Parliament and on the streets, the debate raged. Should Canada double down on its resource wealth, or pivot boldly toward a green economy? One side saw a green, post-carbon economy, the other, a nation built on resource wealth. Both believed their vision was the only path forward, and neither was willing to back down. The cancellation didn't just stop oil, it stopped the conversation. Projects halted overnight, workers sent home, and the sense of uncertainty grew heavier with each passing day. It drew a line in the sand between Alberta and Ottawa. Old tensions flared and new ones emerged as the country struggled to find common ground. This was no ordinary political squabble. It was a battle for the soul of the nation, with stakes higher than ever before. It was a crisis threatening the fabric of Confederation. The shockwave had hit, and its effects were being felt in every province, every home. The aftershocks were just beginning. Each new headline, each new statement from Ottawa or Alberta, sent fresh tremors through the country. Canada was now a nation on edge, Families gathered around their televisions, anxious and uncertain, wondering what the future would hold. The countdown to crisis had begun. The nation braced itself, knowing that the hardest days might still be ahead. The conflict is now laid bare. A tale of two Canadas, each with its own vision for the future, and each feeling the weight of a national crisis in profoundly different ways. In Ottawa and Toronto, the pipeline's cancellation is seen as a necessary step toward a sustainable future. For many, it's a bold move, one that signals Canada's commitment to fighting climate change and protecting the environment for generations to come. They envision Canada as a global leader in green technology, a country that can innovate its way out of dependence on fossil fuels. The hope is to create new jobs, new industries, and a cleaner, healthier society, leaving pipelines and oil behind as relics of the past. Alberta's pain is acknowledged in speeches and policy papers, but often framed as part of a just transition, an inevitable, if difficult, step on the road to a greener economy. In Alberta, the view is starkly different. Here, the pipeline represented hope, stability, and a future for families who have built their lives around the energy sector. They see a nation turning its back on the industry that built it, on the workers, communities, and families who have powered Canada's prosperity for decades. Billions contributed, rules followed, yet their resources remain landlocked, unable to reach global markets. The sense of frustration grows as opportunities slip away. This isn't just about economics, it's about fairness, respect, and the right to shape their own destiny. For many, it feels like their voices are being drowned out by distant decision-makers. The pipeline was their path to self-reliance, a chance to secure their future and contribute to the nation's well-being. The divide isn't new, but now it's boiling over. Old wounds are reopened, and the sense of alienation is growing stronger. Ottawa claims a national mandate, balancing all interests and the environment. Leaders insist they are acting for the good of all Canadians, trying to find common ground in a divided nation. Alberta, however, sees deliberate obstruction, not market forces. Many believe their future is being decided by those who don't understand their reality. The conflict is no longer just about a pipeline, it's a battle for the soul of the country, a test of whether Canada can truly be a nation that respects all its parts. Is Canada a partnership of equals, or a federation where Ottawa picks winners and losers? The answer may shape the country's future for years to come. In Alberta, the sense of betrayal is deep and raw. It's a feeling that lingers in every conversation, in every coffee shop, and on every street corner. People here are not just upset, they feel abandoned by a country they helped build. From the gleaming towers of Calgary to the quiet rural truck stops, anger and frustration are everywhere. In bustling cities and remote towns alike, Albertans share a common sense of injustice, a belief that their hard work has been overlooked. For decades, Alberta has been the engine of Canada's economy. Billions have been sent east in equalization payments, supporting other provinces. Yet now, when Alberta needs support, it feels forgotten. Its contributions erased from the national memory. On Ottawa's green agenda to many here feels less like environmental stewardship and more like a convenient excuse to target Alberta's way of life. The policies seem designed to punish, not to help. The double standard is impossible to ignore. Pipelines are blocked, yet foreign oil is imported. Other industries receive generous subsidies, while Alberta's lifeblood is choked off. The message is clear: Alberta's prosperity is expendable. Premier Danielle Smith channels this fury, standing before the legislature and her people, reminding Ottawa that Alberta's resources are not a privilege. They are a constitutional right, hard-won and fiercely defended. The pipeline's cancellation is seen here as more than a policy decision. It's federal overreach, a direct attack on Alberta's autonomy and its future. For many, it's the last straw. This fight is about more than just money. It's about respect, dignity, and Alberta's rightful place in the Canadian Federation. It's about being heard and valued. The province's independent spirit, once a source of pride, now feels wounded and under siege. The cancellation isn't just an economic blow, it feels like an attack on the very core values that define Alberta: hard work, resilience, and self-reliance. The wound is emotional as much as it is economic. Families worry about their futures, and communities fear for their survival. But Alberta is determined to fight back, with every tool at its disposal, from legal challenges to grassroots activism. The resolve here is unbreakable. The battle lines are drawn, not just on maps, but in the hearts and minds of Albertans everywhere. Now, the province's pride and future are on the line. Alberta stands united, ready to defend what it has built, no matter the cost. Alberta's anger is rooted in history. For decades, Ottawa controlled Western resources, a legacy of colonial oversight. The 1930 Natural Resources Transfer Acts and Section 92A of the Constitution were supposed to guarantee Alberta's rights, but the Constitution is murky. Provinces own resources, but Ottawa controls interprovincial infrastructure and the environment. Ottawa claims national interest. Alberta sees betrayal of constitutional promises. Environmental regulation becomes a political weapon. The pipeline is just the latest flashpoint in a century-old struggle. The fight is about power, fairness, and the meaning of confederation. Premier Danielle Smith responds with radical defiance. The Alberta Sovereignty Act gives her government power to ignore federal laws deemed unconstitutional. Smith's ultimatum: Ottawa has 90 days to reverse the pipeline decision, or Alberta will invoke the act. This could trigger a constitutional crisis. Provincial agencies defying Ottawa. Legal chaos. Critics call it reckless. Supporters say it's Alberta's last stand. It's a high-stakes gamble. Alberta is daring Ottawa to blink. The country braces for impact. The pipeline's cancellation isn't just Alberta's problem, it's Canada's. Tens of thousands of jobs, billions in investment gone. The economic pain will ripple nationwide. Manufacturing contracts lost, financial deals scrapped. Canada's reputation as a stable place to invest is damaged. Political risk now shadows every major project. The message: Canada is a country at war with itself. The cost is immediate and long-term. Lost growth, lost trust. Every Canadian will pay a price. The economic dominoes have started to fall. The pipeline decision exposes deep fractures in the Federation. Alberta is the loudest, but Saskatchewan stands with it, warning of federal overreach. Quebec applauds Ottawa, citing environmental protection and autonomy, while benefiting from Alberta's wealth. British Columbia is torn. Atlantic provinces stay cautious, wary of future federal moves. The country is a patchwork of interests, not a united front. The federal government's decision has deepened divisions, not healed them. Provinces now defend their own camps. The idea of a unified national interest feels more distant than ever. The clock is ticking. Smith's ultimatum has set a countdown to crisis. Ottawa faces a dilemma: back down and look weak, or hold firm and risk chaos. If Alberta invokes the Sovereignty Act, legal battles will erupt, unity will fray. Smith could call a referendum on autonomy, deepening the divide. Separatist sentiment is rising. The countdown isn't just about a pipeline, it's about Canada's future. The next 90 days could decide if Canada stays united. As the deadline nears, Canada stands at a crossroads. The pipeline conflict is now a struggle for the nation's soul. One path: compromise and reconciliation. Leaders must step back from the brink. The other: prolonged conflict, legal chaos, poisoned relationships, economic harm. The most perilous: national fracture. Alberta separatism becomes real. The price could be the country itself. The stakes have never been higher. This is more than a pipeline fight. It's a battle for what Canada is, and what it will become. The outcome will echo for generations.